Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are previewing the 2015 Belmont Stakes. We are talking with horse racing analyst Marcus Hirsch from Daily Racing Forum, DRF.com. We just got finished analyzing American Pharoah's chances, 3-5 on the morning line odds, despite the fact that Preakness and Kentucky Derby winners are 0 for their last 13, trying to win the Belmont. Now we're going to take a look at the rest of the field. Kind of a lot of horses that have a legitimate chance, right, Marcus?
Well, I think there are two main alternatives, is the way I've seen race, Peter, to the favorite, and those are unfortunately the second and third choices. Okay. Frosted and Materiality. I actually picked Materiality to win the race. From a pace dynamic, as far as how the race is going to be run, there really are only on paper two horses that seem likely to go forward: American Pharoah and Materiality. American Pharoah is drawn inside Materiality. I think that gives Materiality a little bit of an advantage tactics-wise, because his rider can track every move that Victor Espinoza makes on American Pharoah. Materiality didn't even race until early this year at 3. He's this big, lumbering, kind of heavy horse. His sire, Fleet Alex, won the Belmont Stakes. This horse, I think, is going to get the mile and a half. He has speed, too. I think he can keep American Pharoah in his sights. He's a fresher horse. He didn't run in the Preakness. He's been off for 5 weeks. His trainer, Todd Fletcher, is based right here at Belmont Park. I think there's a lot to like about Materiality.
Right now on the morning line, Frosted 5-1, Materiality 6-1, and the fourth choice, Moob Tawheed. A lot of people have been saying, first of all, I read again in Daily Racing Forum, a guy named Mike Welsh said that his workouts at Belmont have been notably impressive, and I've read other people say that he might be particularly well suited to getting the distance, coming over from from overseas. They're bred a little bit differently. What's your take on Moob Tawheed as the fourth choice?
Well, Mike Welsh is our clocker, and his reviews have been a little bit mixed. This horse, Moob Tawheed, his longest work that he's had here, that when he went 5 furlongs, I think Mike liked that work a little bit, but generally he's not been totally impressed with the way the horse is trained. His training is very unusual. His trainer is a South African named Mike de Kock, who's a great trainer. And he works his horses every 3 days or so. This horse has worked twice as much, roughly, as any of the other horses. I was in Dubai when he won his biggest race, the UAE Derby. He looked phenomenal that night. I don't think he ran as well in the Kentucky Derby as he did in the UAE Derby. Now, I think he can and is likely to run better. And you did mention his pedigree. He has more of a mile-and-a-half pedigree than most of the American horses, for sure. But I still really, really question whether he's quite good enough to crack the top 3. I considered him for 4th. I went with Keen Ice in 4th instead. But I'm not high in his chances to earn much more of a placing than that. And the rail draw for him is not a great spot, I don't think.
All right, yeah, and I have been reading some opinions that Frosted might also be a bit of an overlay, a little bit overvalued in this race. You like him, but you like Materiality better. Why do you like Materiality over Frosted?
I think he's going to have a better position, and he might be a little bit better horse just inherently. But it's not an obvious call to me. Frosted, I thought, he ran a really good race in the Kentucky Derby. He was making up the most ground of all. He was very wide. He was far behind early. The pace in that race for the Kentucky Derby was relatively slow. I thought Frosted ran a representative race. He came straight back here to New York and waited for the Belmont. He's going to be closer than he was in the Derby, going 1.5 miles on Saturday. And it's going to be no surprise to me if he wins. But there's definitely going to be a trifecta that I'm going to make with both those horses, Materiality and Frosted, on top. I'll probably throw a couple more horses in 3rd and then use all of them in 4th, hoping to get one of the big long shots like Fermento even, or Keen Ice into the 3rd spot. I mean, you can bet trifectas in 50-cent increments now. It's only an 8-horse field, and if American Pharoah should finish worse than 3rd, I think that's going to pay great.
So let's sum up and get a final official recommendation from you. For as the race in general goes, you do think that the most likely outcome is that American Pharoah will win?
I do think that. I think that I feel way more confident in his chances, for example, than I did in California Chrome last year.
Right.
I feel like just vis-a-vis the other horses in the race and from what I've seen in his training. I mean, watching his workouts this past week, especially his first work. I know a lot of people like the second work after the Preakness, but to me, his first work just showed that he was full of energy, full of life, and hadn't really been sapped by the demands of these first 2 legs of the Triple Crown. I think he's a phenomenal horse and with enough talent to potentially outrun his pedigree. From a value perspective, it's not there. You know, you could watch with your heart, but you should always gamble with your head.
Right, absolutely. Okay, so let's get some official recommended picks. What do you think might be a good way to bet this race that might have some betting value in the end?
Well, I mean, I actually think that Materiality is going to be shorter than his morning line. Right. And I don't know that I'm not keen to play either Materiality or Frosted to win, because as we just talked about, I mean, I see a good chance that American Pharoah is actually going to succeed. And so getting 9-2 or 5-1 in the win pool doesn't strike me as a great way to go about things. However, if one of those horses won and I was alive in the pick 4 or pick 3, then I think it would really boost the value. And as I mentioned, I'm going to play trifectas. I'll use American Pharoah in second and third. I'm not going to use him on top because I'm just not going to bet enough straight to make money that way. If he wins, you know, the trifecta with a logical horse in second, you're talking about a paltry payoff. My hope is to run him out of the trifecta. If not, I want to have the exact if he's not part of it too. So I'm going to layer some bets that way, probably not bet anything straight, and bet my top 2 choices, Materiality and Frosted, in the pick 4.
Okay, Marcus Hirsch from Daily Racing Form, DRF.com. Thanks so much for all your thoughts on the Triple Crown races this year.
Yeah, maybe I'll be right this time, Peter.
Thanks, Marcus.